Chavez. Welcome to the Simply Abundant Summit. For those of you who are just joining in, I put together this summit because I have this feeling that for the most part, people are just making a life of abundance so much harder than it needs to be. And I thought there's got to be a simpler way to not only get abundance, but maintain an abundant life in whatever form that looks like for you. And so I sought out experts in the field of abundance and sat down with them one-on-one and picked their brain about what keeps people living in lack and how simple it really is to live an abundant life. And we are in for such a treat today because we have online Kelly Canull from kellycanull.com, and I was trying to sum up her life and her experience, and I was doing such a hash job of it. I'm just going to read you her bio because it is so cool. So Kelly actually died of spinal meningitis when she was a small child. And when she was revived, something incredible shifted in her energy. And from that moment on, she has had the ability to tap into the energy of people's true purpose. Kelly's ability to read the exact moment someone's limiting story began and her gift in reading people's true potential creates a bridge that enables her clients to claim the life they were truly meant to live. Kelly's work has empowered thousands of people worldwide to let go of fear and doubt and step into the remarkable lives they were born to live. You were born to do something special, and Kelly shows you how to claim your magnificence. So Kelly, welcome to the Simply Abundant Summit. We're so glad to have you.
Yay! Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Wonderful. So let me just jump right into this. So tell me, have you always experienced abundance in your life?
Well, for me, absolutely. The experience of just being in this world where the breath of air that we breathe was something that even as a young child, I remember when I was 4 years old, I would sit there and I would sit there like this on my couch. And I would recognize that I was trying to get the thoughts out of my head and I was also stopping my breath. And I realized that once you do that, I mean, all of us can realize we're holding our breath and we're shallow breathing and then we right? We just relax and then we take in this deep breath. Well, for me, that's when I began to realize that abundance is innate within us. And that's really what I want to bring into the simplified conversation for today. That abundance is actually innately, it's naturally within us. It's not something we have to seek out, not something we have to go find, not something we have to go to a bunch of classes to, access. It's actually already innately in us. And yeah, so I've always known since I was a young little girl that there's something more expanded. There's a way that I'm sort of living my life that didn't seem to be the way that I saw other people living it. And in our analogy of a breath, it's just that I was naturally taking these deep breaths and everyone else was taking these really, really shallow breaths. So yeah.
Wow. Do you think that your death had anything to do with that? With that, just that expanded awareness of everything going on? What an incredible gift.
Yeah, there's a lot of really beautiful stories out there for people who might be interested in near-death experiences, NDEs they call them. And a lot of people will have kind of a scientific experience in their brain where some part of their brain gets a little more activated and they're even calling it the psychic brain. So absolutely, I attribute my near-death experience to a part of me that it's basically like I turned on a movie that maybe others don't have turned on. Although the fact that I have it turned on doesn't mean that others can't turn it on, which is why we're here today, right?
Exactly.
Let's turn this on. I just happen to be one that, boink, turned it on.
And that's such a relief to me because I'm sure most people are like, oh, great, I didn't have a near-death experience when I was young. I haven't experienced abundance. Is there any hope for me? So that's a real relief to know that, yes, absolutely, there is hope. So what have you noticed with your clients or even with people in general? It sounds like from a very young child you realize, hey, there's something different about me than from what everybody else is experiencing. So what have you noticed that in general holds your clients or holds people back from stepping into abundance?
You know what? The biggest thing I would say is a lack of awareness. right? Our lives are so busy. We get going. We get busy into taking care of other people. This is the one I'll highlight. There's a lot of examples. But the one where we're putting everyone else first. We might be a parent. We might be top of our industry. We might be working our way to the top. We might be an athlete. I mean, there's just a million things that we might be doing where we're putting everyone else in front of ourselves. And so as a young child, I have always been able, since I was a little girl, to see to the root cause, as you mentioned in my bio, to what's really going on where people are choosing this shallow breathing, to then give the analogy, to then keep their whole life in sort of this very tunnel vision, blinders on, autopilot we call it. And so what I'm doing is I'm just taking the blinders off of everyone to say, look, there's a new level of awareness. There's actually something different. Because I guarantee everyone who's so blessed to be on this, video summit and listening to all these amazing people share their wisdom will have that activation, I call it, of new awareness. And once we have that, there's no turning back. We're just ready to say, I am, and people are saying this on a level that's subconscious, okay? They're not really saying it on a level that their mind is thinking it all the time. Their mind's not thinking, I want something new and I'm ready for change. Their heart and your soul, your subconscious mind, that's the part of you that's saying, I'm ready for something new. So just to let everyone know, just by being here in this moment and listening to this, you're actually already slowly taking some veils off, some blinders off. And this is what I want to highlight because it is this simple. It's as simple as showing up to know that there are many layers of things happening that you have no conscious awareness of. So if we can just take a deep breath.
Thank you.
There we go. Then we've just shed already a whole layer just by sitting here and listening, right? But were you guys like, oh, this is exciting, It's like, yes, this is awareness. Awareness is aware as you can be of your breath in this whole time we're together is going to actually equal you being aware of how abundant you innately already are. And that is the simplified goal that we're going for.
Wow. So that brought to mind two questions, actually. The first one, you said, all we need to do is show up. Just by showing up, that activates. What does that look like, showing up? I know so many times I feel like I'm showing up to say, like my children, but I'm really not there because they're talking to me and I haven't even processed what they've been saying to me. I feel so terrible saying that, but but to me, that's not showing up necessarily. So what really does showing up look like?
Well, what I would say to that is you're giving an example of showing up in an environment with other people. And so I would even back up and talk about everyone on their own time, creating your own sacred time. This is the first practical tool I could give you. It's really important, whether it's 5 extra minutes in the morning, 5 more minutes in the tub, 5 more minutes before you go to bed, and hopefully periodically throughout your day. Here we go. So now you're just going to start becoming aware of, what if I just took a deep breath right now? Oh my gosh, that is me showing up for myself. That's actually enough to show up for myself. Then throughout the day, you're going to notice, oh, I want to take more deep breaths for myself. So even if you're around other people, you're actually showing up for yourself. You're actually going, oh, I remember consciously now. I'm bringing it to my awareness. Taking a deep breath, which means I'm already an abundant being, which now I'm going to add to this sandwich I'm making, that a deep breath means I'm putting myself first and I'm showing up for myself. You see, the answer is whatever your intention is exactly where all the energy of your action is going to take you. So if you're consciously taking deep breaths and your intention is, I'm putting myself first, I'm showing up, then you can notice that when no one else is around, let yourself go a little bit, relax your body a little bit, and that takes it to a little bit deeper level. It's like, okay, yeah, expansion. All right, and what you're going to start noticing is no one else is around, so I can kind of relax a little bit. I don't have to put on airs. I don't have to put on this mask. I can And that's another layer. You're like, oh, wow. And so then you start showing up in your own space naturally and authentically to what feels good to you. So when you then are in the presence of your children or a coworker or a spouse or family members, you don't change. You don't go like from like, I'm cool with who I am to, oh, let me put on this blinders, And a lot of us do that. We're so conditioned to do that, right? So the more you can take this into the simple act of, yeah, you know what? Like, I'm going to just relax. I don't have to be so upright all the time. And, right. So the baby steps you can take with the awareness, this is me putting myself first. This is me showing up. And that's what I want to just bring into this conversation, one more way of saying it, okay? Everyone gets really heady around, I don't know if I'm doing this right. I don't know if I haven't figured this out. Well, it's brand new conscious awareness to your mental mind. So the mind's going to be tripping you up and saying, I don't know if I'm doing this right. It's a very common thing I hear. Here's the deal. You are doing it right in every moment. You're not breathing wrong. You're just breathing shallow versus deep. So your awareness is, oh, I was doing it right all along for where I was at that level of consciousness I was in. Now I have more awareness. I'm going to breathe deeper. Relax my shoulders. I'm going to just open up my heart. And I'm going to see that I'm happy being in this space with no one around for a minute. I'm showing up for myself.
Wow. It's really as simple as the deep breath.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, because I have to admit to you, as you've been talking, all I've wanted to do is breathe deep. And I'm sure you've noticed me taking these gigantic breaths. And my goodness, it feels so good. It feels so good. So question, and this isn't meant to trip you up at all, but you've talked about the deep breath and how important that is to help us show up. When did you notice? I mean, because pretty much across the board, people breathe really shallowly. In fact, when I cry, if I'm really emotional, I hold my breath until I'm forced to take another breath. Do you know why that is and why we tend to just breathe so shallowly?
Well, I do believe everything is energy, okay? So if everything is energy, our thoughts are energy, our breath is energy, we'll use those two. So if our thoughts are limiting, our breath will follow by being limited. So if our fears are running our life, because what's happening, think about it like this. I'm going to just exaggerate the idea, but it's like a shallow breath. Oh my God, I don't know when my next breath will come. I better take another short. You want to be shallow because you can't, it's like the monkey bars. I got to grab the next one. I got to grab the next one. And that is a survival consciousness. That is our brain. That is our old school way of living in the world. If someone threw hundreds of dollars in the air, everyone's going to run and grab them. And that's a symbolic of almost like taking shallow breaths of air. But if you were taking deep breaths of air and deep connection, you're deepening your awareness and your connection to the more expanded essence of who you are. And your thoughts already will not be in fear. They're going to be in love. So if someone threw hundreds of dollars of bills in the air and everyone ran and scattered to get it, and you're taking deep breaths all along, you're going to trust that exactly the $100 bills that you need in your life, the abundance you need, is going to be there for you. So we'll use that, when we're little kids and we hit a piñata and all this candy comes running out. We run to it. If there was a child in there that actually was really taking deep breaths and was really present with who they were, and they'd been putting themselves first, they would trust that there would be plenty. There'd be more than enough. And they might not look into the center where everyone else is going. They would go to the periphery and they would go, oh, here's candy for me. And I want to say that for our life. When we're the ones in the crowd that are breathing deeply and everyone else is breathing really shallow and they're so scarce, it's like scarcity and lack mentality, and they're running for the thing that they see, they don't see what's in the periphery of their life. So when we're taking deep breaths, we can be very present and we get the big picture and we can find solutions in our life because we honor that we're not taking shallow breaths. There's more to offer, and we can step outside the box and live from that place. And I want to draw this back to what we talked about earlier, because someone might go, I hear living outside the box all the time, and I don't know what that means.
Right.
Right.
I'm not that creative.
Right. And the thing is, we all are creative. We all are abundant. We all are intuitive. We all are amazing, extraordinary beings already. So take a deep breath. I want you to just visualize for this moment everyone running for the $100 bills, or everyone running and trying to get the candy. I want you to find yourself just in this inner visualization, even if your eyes are open. Just go to the outside. Just go to the outside. Pick up some candy. Take some deep breaths. Pick up some $100 bills. And when you do, I want you to feel inside yourself, there's more than enough. Wow, I just wasn't open to coming out to this level and seeing what's already here. And once again, just by your intention of doing this in this moment, you're going to notice in your world, you're going to be guided outside your own box, simply, joyfully. And you're going to see a solution to something just because you're willing to deep breathe. Deeply.
Wow. Can I tell you what happened while you were guiding us through that?
Hear.
So you were talking about, imagine all the people running for the $100 bills, and I felt in the pit of my stomach a very frantic, familiar kind of energy. And energy might be a little bit too esoteric for some people, but just like a feeling like a little bit of clenching, like, oh my goodness, here it goes, and a tiny bit of anxiety. In fact, even talking about it now brings that up right to the surface. And then when you said, but you're backed off, and you're just looking, and you're noticing what's going on in the peripheral, and then you can pick things up here and there, I immediately felt just a lot of peace come over me. And like, hey, it's all good. There's enough for you. There's enough for everyone. Just by that deep breathing. That was really cool.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing up the awareness around, my terminology around energy might be different for someone, but it's just what you described. It's simply a gut feeling, a clenched, intense, oh my gosh, hurry, 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 scurry, scurry, scurry. And how much we follow that lead, even though it doesn't feel good. And so abundance, to me, and the simplified version of it is, what feels better? If I could just put into common terms, my whole work with people and what I wish of people, it would be that we all just follow what feels good. If we just followed what felt good, we would take ourselves into a whole new trajectory of our lives, where we would continue to live in the innate abundance of who we are, but we wouldn't be questioning it anymore. We would just be it. So the whole experience that we're having is just all-encompassing. And we don't even really notice we're not it until we can see the contrast out in the world and go, oh, I remember when I was there.
Do any of your clients, have you noticed that they tend to, because that feeling of peace and, almost stillness just keeps coming to mind, just that feeling of calm, do you find that they tend to try to grab the frantic back? Because even though we don't like it, it's very familiar to all of us.
Absolutely.
Do they?
Yeah.
So what do you do to help them, to just really bridge that gap and to be like, no, I'm leaving that forever. I don't need that any longer. Do you have anything that you do to help them with that?
Yes. For me, I've created what's called the 4 A's to authentic happiness. And basically what they are, I can share them now, is awareness, right? The first one, like I mentioned and what we've been talking about, is awareness. It's your awareness that you once were the frantic, shallow breathing individual, and awareness that it's going to be very common for that feeling of familiarity, even though it may not feel good, it feels familiar, is going to be like a magnet that wants to pull you back. So the next thing we do is we move into allowing. We begin to allow ourselves permission to breathe deeply, to relax. And when we do that, what begins happening in our life is we're allowing ourselves to get some clarity, some guidance, some advice, insight, opinions, whatever word you want to use, from our outer world, they begin to share with us the contrast, like I said. So what happens is if you're in awareness that I want to breathe deeply, I want to expand out, and someone comes frantic into your world and you can see them in the allowing phase, I'm going to allow them to be where they are, but wow, I see that I don't want to judge them for being there because I was once there, even an hour ago. And I'm just choosing right now to allow myself to not be there. And then the allowing phase is kind of multifaceted. Another part of this phase of our life is we allow ourselves to get some deeper wisdom and guidance. If you really want to do some inner work, and a lot of my work goes deep, is we go into where did this fear of lack and scarcity and fear around not having enough or maybe not being worthy enough or, thinking you're making a wrong choice so you never want to change, where did this originate from in your life? So we go into allowing ourselves to get into a deeper sense of, oh, yeah, okay, I can see where this originated in my childhood. And then we move to the third one, which is appreciating. We appreciate it. We appreciate our family and everyone that scattered to the candy quickly and scattered to the $100 bills quickly because that's the autopilot they were on. However, we're appreciating that we're going to set that habit and that autopilot way of doing things free. And this is a very important part, even for those that might be new to energy work. This is about simply clearing our energy inside ourselves, like we're cleaning a table, like we're cleaning a house or a car. We want to clean it so that it's fresh and new. So you're appreciating it, but you're setting the block. You're setting the part of you that automatically breathes shallow, free. So all of a sudden the next day, you're breathing deeply, but you weren't even thinking about it because we're utilizing a muscle that's been atrophied for a long time, and we're beginning to build it up again. And then the fourth A naturally occurs when you move through the first three, and that's activating, okay? So we're activating, and I know I use that word a lot. It just means that which you already are is shining brighter. So you're activating or shining brighter your abundant divine self, which is your more expanded self. So you went in this could be a 1-minute experience. You went from awareness that you're breathing shallow, that you have a fear around something, that you're lacking scarcity around it, all the way to allowing yourself to go deeper. And once again, that intention in and of itself is huge. So then you just get whatever level it is there. You might get it momentarily, like a fleeting thought, or you might be willing to use your own resources you have, or I have a lot of beautiful resources I use with my clients to go deeper into where did this originate from. And then when you find the root cause, you just, good. I'm setting it free. I appreciate it so much. And when we let go of anything, we create a space to let the authentic us come forth.
Yes. Do you ever find that people have a hard time appreciating that cause?
I find that if somebody wants to hold on to the way their life used to be, they will have a hard time appreciating because some part of them wants to just sit in the comfort zone of that which actually they're going to find out is not working for them. So ultimately, those that are ready because they're so unhappy, they're so stuck, they're so tired of where they've been, they're willing to try something new. And what I can guarantee with the 4 A's of authentic happiness is they work so quickly. It might just be one time. The first time someone does it, they might question it because the mind definitely wants to resist and say, no, this isn't going to work. Oh, this doesn't work. Let's not go here. Don't go here. Go. And you go there, and it's like, it washes away, and then you have that feeling, like you were explaining earlier, of, gosh, I felt at peace. And so then everyone's like, I want more of that. I want more of that peaceful feeling. What steps do I have to go through? I want to get to the end and feeling again. So then it shifts, and then there's no more resistance to appreciating. And also to answer that question, it's a new concept. it's a new concept out there for people to appreciate their journey.
Yes.
For everything it's been. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It brought something to mind when you said it's a new concept for people to appreciate the journey. I know that I am one of those people that's like, let's just get to the journey and get right to the destination. Because the journey holds so many, I think, scary things for people. Oh, there's going to be hard times, and there's going to be lack, and there's going to be demons I have to face. But that doesn't necessarily have to be what our journey is. Have you found that to be the case?
Absolutely. And the thing is, what everyone's not noticing is that what you just described is already what you've been going through.
Oh.
It's actually already been the way it is. And you just weren't aware of it, right? The awareness is huge. So what you're referring to is once the first thing comes up, the first A of awareness is basically, here's what it is. This 4A formula goes across the board. Someone can become aware of the fact that they're ready to change and then run far, far away from that. So they've just hit the first one, right? And a lot more of the audience that we're talking to here is going to go through the first two. There's a lot of people who are, I'm aware, I'm ready for change, I'm going to allow it. But once they allow themselves to get some awareness, they might trail off into the anger of the parent that got reminded in their awareness and their allowing phase that, wow, this happened when I was 2 and I'm so mad at my mom or dad for this. And they distract themselves and get trailed off into that phase. And so most of the audience here is going to have an awareness and allowing pretty natural for them. And so I invite everyone to recognize there's something more. And when you have the more, you'll go deeper, you'll have a different experience. And once again, getting to that peaceful feeling is the goal. And it's really, really simple. It's just a matter of, hey, would you like to try it? Would you just like to try it out? And then only when you try it out will you see. So going back to your question, the journey then that most of you all have been on is like a lot of limitation. The awareness phase is very, very like tight, blinders. Awareness and allowing kind of gives you a little bit more. And so your point of view is, oh my gosh, now the stuff's coming up. I'm going to have to go through this intense, like I'm pushing on my head, like a headache. Oh, it's going to be a headache. When actually, you guys, when you go to the third phase, look what happens. It expands out. If it expands out, there's no pressure. It's relaxed. You get to just like let your hair down, let it all flow. It's fun. It's true. That's how it becomes. But your level of awareness was not that there's more beyond the second phase. Everyone's been going phase 1, phase 2, phase 1, phase 2, phase 1, phase 2. And I'm going, hey, look, we're going to go in the opposite direction of where you've been going. And we're going to expand out. And the experience is going to be the journey, but the journey will feel completely different than what you're used to, which is a difference.
Yes, you completely asked the question, answered the question before I even asked it was, is this going to be scary? Is this going to be hard? Is it going to be full of struggle? But you just described that so beautifully, like, oh my gosh, who wouldn't want to step into that and just release it and expand it and let it go if it's that easy? And I have a feeling it really is.
It really is. It really is. But you're just great saying the words you're saying, because you're saying, I have a feeling that, which is the part of you and the audience that's going, gosh, I haven't been there. But I have a feeling it will, but I haven't been there. Now think about that, you guys, once again, back to your own innocent childlike days. When you were a child, everything was free. Everything was abundant in your awareness. It really was. And in the analogy of the piñata and rushing for the candy, even though we were children and we were free and we were expansive in a lot of ways, we were already being conditioned and the walls were already coming onto us. And so what I heard from you, actually, because this is part of my gift to read between the lines, when someone says something, I can actually hear what you're saying beyond the words you're saying. And what I sensed when you said, I feel that, that could really happen, is this little child inside of you who absolutely has the courage and strength to try something new. And she's never been there. but she has a confidence that's like, yeah, no, I know this is going to work. So this is just a really sweet energy, you know, and so I want you guys to tune back into your own childlike, innocent self who is buried inside your heart, even though you're an adult today. Because the adult could have the fears, but the inner child is like, hey, we've done so many things where we had no clue of what it was going to bring us. And it was pretty phenomenal. So, wow, now we're in the adult body. Let's return back to that part of us. Let me, this little inner child part of me that's confident, let me step up to the forefront. So it's another tool I'm giving you guys when you're in a place of lack or scarcity or fear. Just imagine that there's an inner child part of yourself that isn't. He is so happy, so confident. They're already breathing deeply. They know the road. They're free, and they can take the lead. So it's another fun visualization when we're scared. It's like, oh, wait, there's another part of me that's actually not scared. So I'm going to let that part of me step up. What would it look like? What's my journey going to look like if I let that part of me step up?
Oh, yeah, wow. Completely different from the fear. The fear founded, part of you that, because you just don't want to move forward. It's, these halting little steps. But man, if you let that part of you because there is a part, I just know that there's a part of us that isn't scared. That it's the part that wants to try things new, but then the bigger part that says, what are you doing? But just let that part come out and see what fabulous miracles will come. Wow. You have completely expanded my mind, Kelly.
That's the goal.
And you've expanded my breathing. It's been so great. It's like, I don't know what this is, but holy cow, I want to breathe really, really deep. So thank you for that. I think my body thanks you for that too. So we just have a few minutes left. I would love for you to do this all day long and impart your words of wisdom with us all day, but I know you don't have all day. So do you have something a free offer for us? A gift that you have in mind for our audience?
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you're interested in continually experiencing these little nuggets that I've given you today, but in different ways, just go to my website, kellycanull.com. It's KELLYCANULL.com. Right there on the homepage, on the right side of my video, you're going to find an opt-in box. Opt-in, and what you're going to get immediately are some complimentary tools. I'm going to talk about the 4 A's in more depth. I'll give you a free chapter of my book. I'm going to give you a beautiful guided meditation to also help you clear blocks. And I also give a wonderful free monthly telecall, so there'll be details about that. So just go right to kellycanull.com. It's all free, just nuggets. And when you do that, you'll also be a part of my newsletter where I give even more inspirational, beautiful offerings for you. So I'd love to have you a part of this beautiful journey so you know that it can be fun and simple and abundance is innately already within you.
Wow. Thank you. That is wonderful. And can I just say, I myself am really excited for that guided meditation. If it's anything like that tiny little visual you gave us, that was so powerful. And I think a lot of people are like, well, I don't know how to meditate, and I don't know what to do. But if you guide us through that, it's simple and it's beautiful and super, super powerful. So
yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave us with before we sign off? Anything else that might come to mind? If not, that's okay.
Well, let's just come full circle. Let's just take a deep breath together and know that by just going about your day, periodically take some deep breaths. And when you do, we've basically created a whole sandwich of information today. You don't have to consciously recall any of it. Just know that within each deep breath, each one of your molecules and atoms and cells in your body, they've taken in everything I'm talking about. So actually, what's going to be fun for you to do, as you take awareness of your breath, just start to notice that there's going to be some really magical, I call them magical, they're just fun things that I've already talked about, but I think they're magical when they start to arrive in your life. You're going to start to notice you're not jumping to the center of the $100 bill scatters or the candy. You're looking outside, you're looking around you, and just expand into that space. See how what it is that we've talked about today is extremely applicable in your life. Just keep that awareness alive and you're going to find some very fascinating things show up. So, yeah, instant results with this work.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Well, everybody who's joined in today, thank you so much for being here. Wow, what incredible words of wisdom. Kelly calls them nuggets of wisdom. I think they're more like huge gold bricks of wisdom that we've gotten today. And so we're so thrilled that you have all joined us as well. I want to remind you to set your alarms for 6 a.m. Pacific tomorrow for another fabulous interview with another wonderful expert. And really, I think it's important, and Kelly touched on this as well, to take time for you and to make you a priority. And I'm beginning to realize that when we carve out that little space of time for us to really embrace these words of wisdom from our experts, that is the first step to really living in abundance. This is Allyson Chavez saying, have a simply abundant day. Bye-bye.